Election night in America. It's a spectacle unlike any other. The air crackles with anticipation. Every television screen becomes a window into the future. Millions gather, their hopes and anxieties intertwined as the nation decides its fate. The stakes are high, the energy is palpable, but beyond the drama, beyond the cheers and the tears, lies a fundamental question that resonates with each and every one of us. How will this election impact our lives? The economy is not some abstract concept confined to the pages of textbooks or the pronouncements of policymakers. It's the air we breathe, the food on our tables, the roofs over our heads. It's the difference between a good-paying job and the struggle to make ends meet. When the economy thrives, we all feel it. Businesses flourish, creating more jobs and opportunities. Wages rise, giving families more financial security. Optimism abounds, fueling a virtuous cycle of growth and prosperity. But when the economy falters, the consequences are all too real. Jobs disappear, leaving millions facing an uncertain future. Businesses shutter their doors, unable to weather the storm. The American dream, once within reach, suddenly feels a million miles away. It's no wonder then that the economy consistently ranks as a top concern for voters in every election. We entrust our elected leaders with the immense responsibility of steering our nation towards economic prosperity. We look to them to create an environment where businesses can thrive, where workers can earn a decent living, and where everyone has the opportunity to succeed. But the question of how to best achieve these goals is one that has been hotly debated for generations. Different political parties, guided by their respective ideologies, offer contrasting visions for America's economic future. On the campaign trail, promises are made, plans are unveiled, and voters are bombarded with a barrage of statistics, projections, and rhetoric. Each candidate claims to hold the key to economic prosperity, but who to believe? The truth is, there's no easy answer. The economy is a complex and dynamic system, influenced by a multitude of factors, both domestic and global. At the heart of this complex equation lies a simple yet profound truth. Jobs are the lifeblood of any economy. They provide the means for individuals to support themselves and their families, to contribute to society, and to achieve their full potential. When people have good-paying jobs, they have money to spend, which in turn fuels economic growth. They are able to purchase goods and services, invest in their communities, and save for the future. This creates a virtuous cycle of prosperity that benefits everyone. Conversely, when jobs are scarce or wages are stagnant, the economy suffers. Consumer spending declines, businesses struggle, and the overall standard of living erodes. This can lead to a downward spiral of economic hardship, particularly for those already struggling to make ends meet. Section 5. The presidential impact, real or imagined. Given the importance of the economy and the centrality of jobs to our collective well-being, it's only natural to wonder, does the job market change based on which party wins a presidential election? It's a question that has been debated ad nauseum in living rooms, coffee shops, and newsrooms across the country. Some believe that the president has a profound impact on the economy, while others argue that the president's influence is overstated. The truth, as is often the case, lies somewhere in between. The president is not a king, able to dictate the course of the economy with a wave of the hand. But neither is the president a mere bystander, powerless to influence the forces that shape our economic destiny. The president's ability to influence the economy is shaped by a complex interplay of factors, including the state of the economy upon taking office, the president's relationship with Congress, global economic conditions, and unforeseen events such as natural disasters or pandemics. Section 6. Unraveling the complex web of cause and effect. To understand the true impact of presidential elections on the job market, we must delve beyond simplistic narratives and partisan talking points. We must embrace nuance, acknowledge complexity, and resist the temptation to reduce this multifaceted issue to a zero-sum game. It's not simply a matter of Democrats versus Republicans, liberals versus conservatives. The relationship between presidential elections and the job market is far more nuanced and multifaceted than such binary frameworks allow. To fully grasp the dynamics at play, we must adopt a multifaceted approach. We must consider the historical trends, the specific policies implemented by different administrations, and the broader economic context in which these policies were enacted. Only by examining the evidence through a nonpartisan lens can we hope to arrive at a more informed understanding of this crucial issue. Section 7. A deep dive into history. Lessons from past elections. History, as they say, is our greatest teacher. By looking back at past presidential elections and their aftermaths, we can glean valuable insights into the potential impact of future elections on the job market. Over the past few decades, we've witnessed both periods of robust economic growth and periods of painful recession. We've seen presidents from both parties grapple with the challenges of job creation, wage stagnation, and economic inequality. Each election cycle brings its own unique set of circumstances, but by studying the patterns of the past, we can begin to discern the factors that have historically contributed to economic success or failure. This historical analysis will serve as a foundation for our exploration of the specific policies implemented by Democratic and Republican administrations, and how those policies have impacted the job market. Section 8. Our quest for clarity. Separating fact from fiction. Our goal is not to promote one political ideology over another. Our goal is to empower you, the viewer, with the knowledge and critical thinking skills necessary to navigate the often confusing world of economics and politics. We'll delve into the data, examine the evidence, and separate fact from fiction. We'll challenge conventional wisdom, expose common myths, and encourage you to think critically about the information presented to you. By the end of this video, you'll have a deeper understanding of the complex relationship between presidential elections and the job market. You'll be equipped to make informed decisions about the future of our nation and your role in shaping that future. So, buckle up and join us on this journey of discovery as we unravel the truth about presidential elections and their impact on the American job market. Section 1. The Post-War Boom, a Golden Age for American Workers. The decades following World War II witnessed an unprecedented period of economic expansion in the United States. Fueled by wartime production and a surge in consumer demand, the American economy roared back to life, creating millions of jobs and lifting millions more out of poverty. This era, often dubbed the Golden Age of capitalism, saw the rise of a strong middle class and a widespread belief in the American dream. But was this economic miracle solely the result of wise presidential leadership? Or were there other factors at play? The truth, as is often the case, is more nuanced. The post-war boom was fueled by a confluence of factors, including government spending on infrastructure and education, a wave of technological innovation, and a favorable global economic climate. Presidents Truman, Eisenhower, Kennedy, and Johnson, despite their ideological differences, all presided over periods of robust economic growth. They implemented policies that supported American businesses, invested in education and infrastructure, and expanded access to healthcare and social safety net programs. However, it's important to note that they also benefited from the unique historical circumstances of the post-war era. The devastation of World War II left Europe and Japan in ruins, creating a vacuum in the global economy that the United States was uniquely positioned to fill. Section 2. The Reagan Revolution, Trickle-Down Economics, and its Aftermath. The 1970s witnessed a period of economic stagnation and inflation, known as stagflation, which challenged the Keynesian economic orthodoxy that had prevailed in the post-war era. Enter Ronald Reagan, a charismatic former actor who promised to restore America's economic might by unleashing the power of the free market. Reagan's economic policies, dubbed Reaganomics or trickle-down economics, centered on reducing taxes, deregulation, and curbing inflation. The theory was that by cutting taxes for businesses and high-income earners, the economy would grow, creating more jobs and prosperity that would eventually trickle down to all Americans. The Reagan years were a time of significant economic change, marked by both periods of growth and recession. While inflation was tamed and the stock market boomed, income inequality widened and the national debt ballooned. The impact of Reaganomics on the job market is still debated today, with some arguing that it led to job creation and others pointing to the decline of manufacturing jobs and the rise of low-wage service sector jobs. Reagan's presidency marked a turning point in American economic policy, shifting the focus away from government intervention and towards a more market-driven approach. The long-term consequences of this shift continue to be felt today. Section 3. The Clinton years, a tech boom and a balanced budget. Bill Clinton, a Democrat, came to office in 1992 promising to create jobs and revive the economy. He inherited an economy recovering from a recession, but facing challenges such as globalization and technological change. Clinton's economic policies, often described as New Democrat or third-way politics, sought to balance free market principles with social responsibility. Clinton signed the North American Free Trade Agreement, or NAFTA, which eliminated trade barriers between the United States, Canada, and Mexico. He also implemented policies to promote free trade and globalization, which led to increased competition from abroad, but also opened up new markets for American businesses. The Clinton years coincided with the dot-com boom, a period of rapid technological innovation and economic expansion driven by the rise of the internet and personal computers. The economy grew at a healthy pace, unemployment fell, and the federal budget went from a deficit to a surplus. However, critics argue that Clinton's policies contributed to the financial crisis of 2008 by deregulating the financial industry. Clinton's presidency demonstrated that economic growth could be achieved while also addressing social concerns. His focus on education, job training, and technological innovation helped to create a more competitive workforce and prepare the nation for the challenges of the 21st century. Section 4. The Bush Era. Tax cuts, wars, and economic uncertainty. George W. Bush, a Republican, assumed the presidency in 2001 promising tax cuts. His presidency was defined by the September 11th attacks and wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. The administration responded to the 2001 recession with tax cuts and increased spending. These measures, along with lower interest rates, stimulated the economy short-term. However, wars and tax cuts for high-income earners increased the national debt. Deregulation contributed to the housing bubble and the 2008 financial crisis. The housing market collapse led to foreclosures and a sharp economic decline. Unemployment soared, plunging the economy into the worst recession since the Great Depression. Section 5. The Obama Presidency. Navigating the Great Recession. Barack Obama, a Democrat, took office in 2009 amidst the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. The economy was in free fall, unemployment was skyrocketing, and the financial system was teetering on the brink of collapse. Obama's immediate challenge was to stabilize the economy and prevent a complete meltdown. The Obama administration enacted the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act of 2009, a $787 billion stimulus package designed to create jobs, invest in infrastructure, and provide tax relief for middle-class Americans. The administration also bailed out the auto industry and implemented policies to stabilize the housing market. The Obama years witnessed a slow and arduous recovery from the Great Recession. The unemployment rate gradually declined, the stock market rebounded, and the economy began to grow again. However, the recovery was uneven, and many Americans continued to struggle with unemployment, underemployment, and stagnant wages. The Obama presidency demonstrated the limitations of presidential power in the face of global economic forces. Despite inheriting a dire economic situation, Obama managed to avert a complete collapse and set the stage for a slow but steady recovery. However, the legacy of the Great Recession, including high levels of income inequality and a shrinking middle class, continued to cast a long shadow over the American economy. Section 6. The Trump tumult: trade wars, tax cuts, and pandemic disruptions. Donald Trump, a Republican, assumed the presidency in 2017, promising to make America great again by bringing back manufacturing jobs, renegotiating trade deals, and cutting taxes. His presidency was marked by a series of unconventional policies, a confrontational approach to trade, and a global pandemic that upended the economy. The Trump administration implemented a series of tariffs on goods imported from China and other countries, sparking a trade war that disrupted global supply chains and increased costs for businesses and consumers. The administration also passed a $1.5 trillion tax cut, primarily benefiting corporations and wealthy individuals, arguing that it would boost economic growth. The Trump years saw a continuation of the economic expansion that began under Obama, with low unemployment rates and a strong stock market. However, income inequality continued to widen, and the national debt continued to grow. The COVID-19 pandemic, which hit the United States in early 2020, caused a sharp economic contraction, leading to widespread job losses and business closures. The Trump presidency highlighted the interconnectedness of the global economy and the unpredictable nature of external shocks. The trade war with China and the COVID-19 pandemic demonstrated the limits of unilateral action and the importance of international cooperation in addressing global challenges. Section 7. Analyzing the data job growth under different parties. Job growth under Democratic presidents has been greater than under Republican presidents. This holds true even when considering the economy each president inherited. Economists cite differing economic philosophies as a key factor. Democrats favor active government roles, while Republicans prefer laissez-faire approaches. But attributing job growth solely to the president's party oversimplifies a complex issue. Section 8. Beyond the numbers. The quality of jobs created. Raw job creation numbers are just the start. We must also consider job quality under different administrations. Are these jobs high-paying or low-paying? Do they offer benefits and advancement opportunities? Are they future-proof or likely to be automated away? Job quality impacts economic health and worker well-being. High-quality jobs strengthen the middle class, while low-quality jobs can trap workers in poverty. Job types affect America's global competitiveness. Focusing only on job creation can be misleading. The rise of the gig economy and decline of unions show many work longer for less. Look beyond headline numbers to assess job quality in elections. Section 9. The role of Congress. A divided government and its impact. The president shapes economic policy, but Congress also wields considerable influence. Congress passes laws, approves budgets, and confirms appointments. A divided government can lead to gridlock and inaction. This creates uncertainty for businesses and investors. Conversely, a unified government can lead to swift action, but risks partisan overreach. Congress impacts specific industries, like renewable energy or healthcare. Section 10. Global economic forces, the limits of presidential power. Domestic policies shape the American job market, but global economic forces are increasingly influential. Globalization, technological advancements, and geopolitical events profoundly impact the U.S. economy. Increased global competition affects wages and benefits for American workers. Automation and AI transform the job market, displacing some workers while creating new jobs. The COVID-19 pandemic caused a global recession, leading to widespread job losses. The interconnected global economy highlights the limits of presidential power in influencing the job market. Section 1. Tax cuts. A tale of two philosophies. Few economic policy debates are as heated as the debate over taxes. Democrats and Republicans have fundamentally different views on taxation. Republicans favor tax cuts for corporations, arguing it stimulates growth. Democrats support tax cuts for middle-class and low-income Americans. The debate often revolves around who benefits most. Republicans argue tax cuts lead to investment and job growth. Democrats counter that benefits often fail to trickle down. They argue investing in education and infrastructure is more effective. Understanding these perspectives is crucial for informed decisions. Section 2. The Laffer Curve. Does less revenue really mean more growth? The Laffer Curve posits a relationship between tax rates and tax revenue. Named after Arthur Laffer, it suggests higher tax rates can decrease revenue by discouraging economic activity. Conversely, lower tax rates can incentivize growth, potentially increasing revenue. The Laffer curve remains debated, with critics highlighting its lack of empirical support. Critics also argue it fails to account for negative consequences, like reduced government revenue and increased inequality. Despite criticisms, it influenced Republican policies, notably during Reagan and Trump administrations. Both presidents implemented tax cuts, believing they would spur growth. The long-term impact on national debt and inequality remains debated. Section 3. Trickle-down economics, hope versus. Reality trickle-down economics suggests tax cuts for the wealthy will benefit all. The theory posits that more money for businesses and high-income earners will create jobs and stimulate growth. However, the reality often falls short. Critics argue it misunderstands economic dynamics. Wealthy individuals may save or invest in ways that don't create jobs. Trickle-down economics often ignores consumer demand. Stagnant wages and rising costs reduce spending, affecting business investments. Evidence for its effectiveness is mixed. Some studies suggest it may worsen income inequality. Section 4. Investing in America. Infrastructure, education, and innovation. While Republicans generally favor tax cuts as a means of stimulating economic growth, Democrats tend to advocate for a more active role for government in investing in key areas such as infrastructure, education, and innovation. They argue that these investments will create jobs, boost productivity, and enhance America's long-term economic competitiveness. Investing in infrastructure, such as roads, bridges, airports, and broadband internet, can create jobs in the short term while also laying the foundation for long-term economic growth. Modern and efficient infrastructure is essential for businesses to transport goods, access markets, and connect with customers. Moreover, investments in clean energy infrastructure can create jobs in a rapidly growing sector while also addressing the urgent threat of climate change. Investing in education, from early childhood education to job training programs, is crucial for developing a skilled and competitive workforce. A well-educated workforce is essential for innovation, productivity, and economic growth in the 21st century. Moreover, investments in education can help to reduce poverty, increase social mobility, and create a more equitable society. As the world grapples with the urgent threat of climate change, many experts believe that the transition to a green economy presents a significant opportunity for job creation and economic growth. Investing in renewable energy sources, energy efficiency, and sustainable transportation could create millions of new jobs in a variety of sectors, from manufacturing and construction to engineering and research. The green economy is not just about creating jobs, it's also about creating better jobs. Jobs in the green economy tend to be more skilled, safer, and higher paying than jobs in traditional fossil fuel industries. Moreover, investing in a green economy can help to reduce pollution, improve public health, and mitigate the worst effects of climate change. Despite the potential of the green economy, its growth has been hindered by a lack of investment and political will. The fossil fuel industry, with its deep pockets and powerful lobbyists, has resisted efforts to transition to a clean energy future. However, as the costs of renewable energy continue to decline and the urgency of climate action becomes ever more apparent, the green economy is poised for significant growth in the coming decades. Beyond tax policy and government spending, labor laws also play a crucial role in shaping the job market and influencing the lives of American workers. Laws governing unions, the minimum wage, and worker protections can have a significant impact on wages, benefits, and working conditions. Unions, which give workers a collective voice in negotiating with employers, have historically played a crucial role in raising wages, improving benefits, and ensuring safe working conditions. However, union membership has declined dramatically in recent decades, due in part to anti-union legislation and the decline of manufacturing jobs. This decline in unionization has been linked to stagnant wages, rising income inequality, and a decline in worker bargaining power. The minimum wage, the legal minimum that employers must pay their workers, is another key labor law that impacts the lives of millions of Americans. Raising the minimum wage can help to lift low-wage workers out of poverty, boost consumer spending, and reduce income inequality. However, opponents of raising the minimum wage argue that it will lead to job losses, particularly in industries with tight margins, such as restaurants and retail. The fight for a $15 minimum wage has become a rallying cry for labor activists and progressive politicians. Proponents argue it's necessary to ensure a living wage, especially with rising costs. The current federal minimum wage of $7.25 per hour is inadequate. Opponents argue it will lead to job losses in industries with tight margins. Businesses may raise prices or cut hours, harming workers. A $15 minimum wage doesn't account for regional cost differences. The debate is complex, with no easy answers. Section 8. Trade policy, protectionism versus free trade. Trade policy, which governs the exchange of goods and services between countries, can have a significant impact on the job market. Protectionist policies, such as tariffs and quotas, are designed to protect domestic industries from foreign competition, while free trade policies aim to reduce barriers to trade and promote global economic integration. Protectionist policies are often popular with workers in industries facing competition from abroad, as they can shield them from job losses and wage cuts. However, protectionism can also lead to higher prices for consumers, reduced economic efficiency, and retaliation from trading partners. Free trade, on the other hand, can lead to lower prices, increased competition, and greater economic growth, but it can also lead to job losses in industries that are not globally competitive. The optimal trade policy for a country is a complex issue that depends on a variety of factors, including its level of development, the competitiveness of its industries, and its trade relationships with other countries. Finding the right balance between protecting domestic jobs and promoting free trade is a delicate balancing act that has significant implications for the job market and the overall economy. Section 9. NAFTA and its legacy, jobs gained or jobs lost. The North American Free Trade Agreement, implemented in 1994, created a free trade zone between the United States, Canada, and Mexico. The agreement was controversial from the outset, with supporters arguing that it would boost economic growth and create jobs, while opponents feared that it would lead to job losses as companies moved operations to Mexico to take advantage of lower wages. The impact of NAFTA on the U.S. job market is a subject of ongoing debate among economists. Some studies have found that NAFTA led to a modest net increase in jobs, while others have found that it led to a net loss of jobs, particularly in manufacturing. The impact of NAFTA likely varied significantly across industries and regions, with some areas benefiting from increased trade while others experienced job losses and factory closures. Despite the mixed evidence on its impact on jobs, NAFTA did lead to lower prices for consumers and increased trade between the three countries. However, it also contributed to a decline in manufacturing jobs in the U.S., as companies shifted production to Mexico to take advantage of lower labor costs. The debate over NAFTA highlights the complex and often unpredictable impact of trade agreements on the job market. Section 10. The China Syndrome: Trade Wars and Their Consequences. China's rise as a global economic powerhouse has been one of the most significant economic developments of recent decades. While China's economic growth has created opportunities for American businesses and consumers, it has also led to increased competition for American workers and businesses. This competition, combined with concerns about China's trade practices, led to a trade war between the U.S. and China during the Trump administration. The trade war, which involved the imposition of tariffs on billions of dollars worth of goods traded between the two countries, had a significant impact on the global economy. While the tariffs did hurt Chinese businesses and slowed economic growth in China, they also hurt American businesses and consumers, who faced higher prices for imported goods. The trade war also disrupted global supply chains and created uncertainty for businesses, potentially hindering investment and job creation. The trade war with China highlights the interconnectedness of the global economy and the potential for unintended consequences when countries engage in protectionist policies. While the trade war did force China to make some concessions on trade, it also came at a cost to American businesses and consumers. The long-term impact of the trade war on the U.S. job market and the global economy remains to be seen. The Rust Belt blues when manufacturing jobs disappear. Once thriving industrial cities now grapple with factory closures, job losses, and economic decline. This region was the heart of American manufacturing, providing good-paying, unionized jobs. However, globalization and automation led to a steady decline in manufacturing employment. The loss of jobs has had a devastating impact on communities across the region. As factories closed, workers were laid off, and property values plummeted. Unemployment led to increased poverty, crime, and drug abuse. The Rust Belt experience is a stark reminder of the human cost of economic dislocation. From steel mills to Silicon Valley, adapting to a changing economy. While the decline of manufacturing in the Rust Belt has been a painful experience for many communities, it has also highlighted the importance of adaptability and innovation in a globalized economy. As traditional manufacturing jobs have disappeared, new industries have emerged, creating opportunities for workers with the right skills and training. The rise of Silicon Valley, with its focus on technology, innovation, and entrepreneurship, stands in stark contrast to the struggles of the Rust Belt. The transition from a manufacturing-based economy to a knowledge-based economy requires a shift in mindset, skills, and infrastructure. Workers need access to education and training programs that equip them with the skills demanded by emerging industries. Communities need to invest in infrastructure, such as broadband internet and transportation networks, that support innovation and entrepreneurship. And governments need to implement policies that encourage investment, support small businesses, and foster a culture of innovation. The experience of the Rust Belt and the rise of Silicon Valley offer valuable lessons for other regions facing economic transformation. Adapting to a changing economy requires embracing innovation, investing in education and infrastructure, and fostering a culture that values entrepreneurship and risk-taking. It also requires government policies that support these goals and provide a safety net for workers who are displaced during the transition. Automation and the future of work. Automation is transforming the job market, increasing efficiency and productivity. From self-checkout kiosks to robots on assembly lines, industries are evolving. But it raises concerns about job displacement and wage stagnation. AI is advancing, automating tasks like data analysis and customer service. Automation presents both challenges and opportunities. It can displace workers, but also create new jobs in tech fields. Automation can free workers from dangerous tasks, focusing on creative work. Investing in education and training is key to navigating this revolution. The gig economy, characterized by short-term contracts, freelance work, and platform-based employment, has experienced explosive growth in recent years. Fueled by technological advancements that connect workers and customers through online platforms, the gig economy offers both freedom and flexibility for workers and cost savings and efficiency for businesses. However, it has also raised concerns about worker exploitation, lack of benefits, and the erosion of traditional employment relationships. For many workers, the gig economy offers a flexible and potentially lucrative alternative to traditional employment. Gig work can provide the freedom to set one's own hours, work from anywhere, and be one's own boss. It can also provide opportunities for those who face barriers to traditional employment, such as stay-at-home parents, people with disabilities, or those living in rural areas. However, the gig economy is not without its downsides. Gig workers often lack the benefits and protections afforded to traditional employees, such as health insurance, paid sick leave, and unemployment insurance. They may also face unpredictable incomes, fluctuating workloads, and limited opportunities for career advancement. Moreover, the gig economy has raised concerns about worker misclassification, as some companies classify workers as independent contractors rather than employees, denying them basic labor rights and protections. The plight of coal miners in the United States is a poignant example of the human cost of economic transition and the broken promises of politicians. Once a cornerstone of the American economy, the coal industry has been in decline for decades, as demand for coal has fallen due to competition from cheaper and cleaner energy sources, such as natural gas and renewables. This decline has been particularly acute in Appalachia, where coal mining has been a way of life for generations. Politicians from both parties have long promised to revive the coal industry and bring back lost jobs. However, these promises have largely gone unfulfilled, as market forces and technological advancements have continued to erode the industry's viability. The decline of the coal industry has had a devastating impact on Appalachian communities, leading to job losses, poverty, and a sense of despair. The experience of coal miners underscores the need for a just transition for workers and communities affected by economic change. This includes investing in job training programs, supporting economic diversification efforts, and providing a safety net for displaced workers. It also requires acknowledging the real-world impact of policy decisions and avoiding empty promises that offer false hope to struggling communities. The impact of a presidential election goes beyond policies and indicators. It shapes our expectations, influencing decisions and our outlook on the future. Choosing a leader triggers emotions, from optimism to anxiety, affecting economic behavior. A new president often shifts the mood, especially with promises of economic change. Supporters feel hopeful, expecting prosperity. Optimism can boost consumer spending and confidence. Businesses may invest and hire more, anticipating a favorable climate. Opponents may feel anxious, worrying about future impacts. This anxiety can reduce spending and investment. Businesses might hesitate to take risks, waiting to see policy outcomes. Section 2. Consumer confidence. The power of perception in a post-election world. Consumer confidence, a measure of how optimistic people feel about the economy, is a powerful force that can drive economic growth or stifle it. When consumers are confident about the future, they are more likely to spend money on goods and services, fueling economic activity. Conversely, when consumer confidence is low, people tend to tighten their belts, leading to decreased spending and slower economic growth. Presidential elections can have a significant impact on consumer confidence. The outcome of an election can either reinforce or undermine people's sense of economic security, depending on their political leanings and their perceptions of the winning candidate's economic policies. A candidate who campaigned on a platform of economic populism, for example, might see a surge in consumer confidence among working-class voters who believe that their economic interests will be better represented under the new administration. However, consumer confidence is not solely driven by objective economic conditions. It is also influenced by perceptions, emotions, and media narratives. A well-crafted political message, amplified by a supportive media ecosystem, can sway public opinion and influence consumer behavior, even in the absence of significant changes in economic fundamentals. Conversely, negative media coverage or a climate of political uncertainty can undermine consumer confidence, even if the underlying economic indicators are strong. Section 3. The stock market roller coaster. Riding the waves of election results. The stock market, often seen as a barometer of economic health, can be particularly sensitive to political events, including presidential elections. The outcome of an election can trigger both short-term volatility and long-term trends in the stock market. Investors react to perceived risks and opportunities. New administration policies can influence market behavior. Significant fluctuations may occur as investors digest results. A business-friendly candidate could lead to a market rally. Conversely, a hostile candidate could trigger a sell-off. Remember, the stock market isn't always a reliable predictor. Stock prices are driven by a complex interplay of factors. Elections are just one piece of a larger puzzle. Section 4. Business investment: to spend or not to spend, that is the question. Business investment, a key driver of economic growth, is often influenced by perceptions of political stability and predictability. Businesses are more likely to invest, expand, and hire when they feel confident about the future and believe that the political landscape is conducive to growth. Conversely, political uncertainty, policy volatility, or an anti-business climate can make businesses hesitant to invest, potentially hindering job creation and economic expansion. Presidential elections can create both opportunities and challenges for businesses. A new administration often brings with it a new set of priorities, policies, and regulations that can impact different industries in different ways. Businesses that are able to anticipate these changes and adapt their strategies accordingly are more likely to thrive in the post-election environment. For example, the election of a president who prioritizes infrastructure spending could create a boom for construction companies, engineering firms, and building material suppliers. Similarly, a president who focuses on promoting renewable energy could benefit solar panel manufacturers, wind turbine installers, and other businesses in the green energy sector. However, businesses that are slow to adapt to the changing political landscape or that are heavily reliant on government contracts or subsidies may face challenges in the post-election environment. The immigration debate: economic boon or burden. Immigration is a complex and often contentious issue with far-reaching economic implications. Proponents of immigration argue that it boosts economic growth, creates jobs, and fosters innovation, while opponents contend that it depresses wages, strains social services, and undermines national identity. Presidential elections often become flashpoints in the immigration debate, as candidates stake out positions on border security, legal immigration, and the status of undocumented immigrants. The economic impact of immigration is a subject of ongoing debate among economists. Some studies have found that immigration has a net positive effect on the economy, boosting overall economic output, creating more jobs than it displaces, and lowering prices for consumers. Other studies, however, have found that immigration can depress wages for low-skilled native-born workers, particularly in certain industries and regions. The reality is that the economic impact of immigration is complex and multifaceted, varying depending on factors such as the skill level of immigrants, the industries they work in, and the policies in place to integrate them into the workforce. Moreover, the debate over immigration is often intertwined with broader social and cultural anxieties, making it difficult to disentangle the economic arguments from the emotional ones. Healthcare anxieties, the Affordable Care Act and its uncertain future. Healthcare is another perennially contentious issue that looms large in American politics, and presidential elections often become referendums on the state of the nation's healthcare system. The Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, has been a particularly polarizing issue since its passage in 2010, with Republicans generally seeking to repeal or replace it, while Democrats have defended it. The ACA has had a significant impact on the healthcare industry, expanding health insurance coverage to millions of Americans, particularly those with pre-existing conditions. It has also led to changes in the way healthcare is delivered and paid for, with a greater emphasis on preventative care, value-based payments, and coordinated care. These changes have created both opportunities and challenges for healthcare providers, insurers, and other stakeholders in the industry. The future of the ACA has been uncertain since the election of Donald Trump, who vowed to repeal and replace it. While Republicans have been unable to fully repeal the ACA, they have made changes to the law that have weakened its impact and led to increased uncertainty in the healthcare market. The debate over healthcare is likely to continue to be a major issue in American politics, with implications for the job market, the economy, and the health and well-being of millions of Americans. Climate change concerns, green jobs versus economic fears. Climate change is one of the most pressing challenges facing humanity, and its economic implications are becoming increasingly apparent. Addressing climate change will require a fundamental transformation of the global economy, moving away from fossil fuels and towards cleaner sources of energy. This transition will create both opportunities and challenges for businesses, workers, and the overall economy. Proponents of climate action argue that investing in clean energy, energy efficiency, and sustainable transportation will create millions of new jobs, boost economic growth, and reduce the risks and costs associated with climate change. They point to the rapidly growing renewable energy sector as evidence of the economic potential of a green economy. However, some business groups and politicians argue that taking action on climate change will harm the economy, leading to job losses in traditional energy industries and higher energy prices for consumers. They argue that the costs of transitioning to a low-carbon economy outweigh the benefits, and that such a transition should be gradual and market-driven rather than mandated by government regulation. Section 8. The media's role shaping the narrative, influencing the mood. The media plays a powerful role in shaping public perception of the economy and the job market. From news reports and opinion pieces to social media posts and online forums, the media provides a constant stream of information, analysis, and commentary that can influence our understanding of economic issues and our expectations for the future. During election cycles, the media's coverage of the economy and the job market often becomes highly politicized, with different outlets framing the same economic data in vastly different ways to support their preferred narratives. This can create a distorted view of the economy, with some outlets highlighting positive indicators while downplaying negative ones, and vice versa. The media's coverage of the economy can also influence consumer and business confidence. Positive news coverage, such as reports of job growth, rising wages, or a booming stock market, can boost confidence and encourage spending and investment. Conversely, negative news coverage, such as reports of layoffs, factory closures, or a looming recession, can undermine confidence and lead to decreased spending and investment, even if the underlying economic fundamentals are sound. Section 9. Echo chambers and filter bubbles, reinforcing existing beliefs. In today's highly polarized political environment, people are increasingly getting their news and information from sources that align with their existing beliefs. This phenomenon, known as echo chambers or filter bubbles, can exacerbate partisan divides and make it difficult for people to engage in constructive dialogue about complex issues like the economy. When people are only exposed to information that confirms their existing beliefs, it can reinforce those beliefs and make them more resistant to opposing viewpoints. This can lead to a situation where people on opposite sides of the political spectrum have vastly different understandings of the same economic data or events. For example, someone who gets their news from a conservative media outlet might believe that the economy is doing great because of the current administration's policies, even if there is evidence to suggest otherwise. Conversely, someone who gets their news from a liberal media outlet might believe that the economy is in shambles because of the current administration's policies, even if there is evidence to suggest otherwise. Section 10. Beyond partisanship. Finding common ground for economic progress. While presidential elections inevitably highlight the partisan divisions in American society, it's important to remember that the economy is not a zero-sum game. When the economy is strong, it benefits all Americans regardless of their political affiliation. Conversely, when the economy weakens, everyone suffers. Finding common ground on economic policy requires moving beyond partisan rhetoric and embracing a spirit of pragmatism and compromise. It requires recognizing that there are legitimate differences of opinion on how best to grow the economy and create jobs, but that these differences should not prevent us from working together to address the economic challenges facing our nation. It also requires recognizing that the economy is not a static entity, but a dynamic system that is constantly evolving. The challenges and opportunities facing the American economy today are different from those of the past, and they will continue to change in the years to come. Meeting these challenges and seizing these opportunities will require flexibility, adaptability, and a willingness to consider new ideas and approaches. As we've journeyed through the annals of American history, examining the ebb and flow of the job market under the watch of various presidents, one overarching theme emerges: a cyclical pattern, a pendulum swing between differing economic philosophies and their subsequent impact on employment. No single party holds a monopoly on economic success, and the relationship between presidential elections and the job market is far more nuanced than simplistic narratives often suggest. The post-war boom, fueled by a confluence of factors, saw presidents from both sides of the aisle presiding over periods of remarkable growth. Yet as the global landscape shifted and new challenges arose, so too did the economic approaches of those entrusted with leading the nation. Reagan's trickle-down economics, Clinton's embrace of globalization, Bush's tax cuts and military spending, Obama's navigation of the Great Recession, and Trump's trade wars and pandemic response, each administration has left its own indelible mark on the American job market. Just as a pendulum swings back and forth, so too does the political will of the nation, often seeking a course correction in the wake of perceived economic missteps or unforeseen crises. This cyclical nature is a testament to the dynamic interplay between the electorate's desires, the policies enacted by those in power, and the ever-changing forces shaping the global economic landscape. While the president undoubtedly wields significant influence over economic policy, it's crucial to acknowledge the limits of this power. The president is not a solitary actor on the economic stage, but rather the conductor of an orchestra composed of various players, each with their own agendas, interests, and influence. Congress, with its power of the purse and its ability to shape legislation, plays a pivotal role in determining the fate of economic policies. The Federal Reserve, an independent entity tasked with maintaining price stability and promoting full employment, exercises considerable influence over monetary policy, setting interest rates and controlling the money supply. Global economic forces, from trade agreements to technological advancements to geopolitical events, can buffet the American economy, regardless of the policies enacted by its leaders. Moreover, unforeseen crises, such as the COVID-19 pandemic, can upend even the most well-crafted economic plans, forcing swift and often improvisational responses from policymakers. The job market, inextricably linked to the overall health of the economy, is thus subject to a complex interplay of forces, both domestic and global, that extend far beyond the Oval Office walls. No longer can we view the American job market in isolation. for it is inextricably intertwined with the global economic tapestry. Globalization has been a double-edged sword, fostering unprecedented economic integration and growth, while also creating new challenges for American workers and businesses. The rise of China, India, and other emerging economies has shifted the balance of economic power, creating both opportunities and anxieties for the United States. Trade agreements, such as NAFTA and its successor, the USMCA, have sparked fierce debates about job creation, wage stagnation, and the competitiveness of American industries. Technological advancements, from automation to artificial intelligence, are transforming the nature of work itself, displacing some jobs while creating new ones, often requiring different skills and training. Navigating this complex and ever-changing global landscape requires a nuanced approach that balances the benefits of globalization with the need to protect American workers and communities. It requires investing in education and training, fostering innovation and entrepreneurship, and pursuing trade policies that promote fair competition and shared prosperity. Section 4. The human factor, the power of our collective choices. Ultimately, the impact of presidential elections on the job market, while shaped by a multitude of factors, boils down to the choices we make as a nation. The policies we support, the leaders we elect, and the values we prioritize will determine the course of our economic future. Do we embrace a vision of shared prosperity, where the benefits of economic growth are widely distributed, or do we accept an economy where the gap between the haves and have-nots continues to widen? Do we invest in education, infrastructure, and innovation, laying the groundwork for long-term economic competitiveness? Or do we prioritize short-term gains that may leave us ill-equipped for the challenges of the 21st century? Do we embrace globalization and technological change, adapting to the new realities of the global economy? Or do we retreat into protectionism and isolationism, risking our economic standing in the world? These are not merely economic questions. They are fundamentally moral and societal questions that will shape the kind of nation we become. The answers lie not in simplistic slogans or partisan rhetoric, but in a thoughtful and informed debate about the values we hold dear and the future we want to create. Section 5. Empowering the electorate. Knowledge is power. In a democracy, knowledge is power. The more informed we are about the complexities of the economy, the job market, and the policies that shape them, the better equipped we are to make wise choices at the ballot box. We must be critical consumers of information, questioning simplistic narratives, seeking out diverse perspectives, and demanding transparency and accountability from our elected officials. Don't be swayed by empty promises or fear-mongering. Delve into the data, examine the evidence, and engage in thoughtful discussions with people who hold different views. Understand the trade-offs inherent in every policy choice, and consider the long-term consequences of our actions, not just the short-term gains. Remember that the economy is not a spectator sport. We are all participants in this complex system, and our individual choices, both as consumers and as citizens, have a ripple effect on the lives of others. By becoming more informed and engaged, we can help to shape an economy that works for everyone, not just the privileged few. Section 6. The importance of civic engagement. Making your voice heard. Democracy is not a passive endeavor. It requires active participation from all of us. Making your voice heard is not limited to casting a vote every 4 years. It means staying informed about the issues, contacting your elected officials, attending town hall meetings, and engaging in respectful dialogue with people who hold different views. It means holding our leaders accountable for their promises and demanding transparency and responsiveness from those entrusted with power. It means supporting organizations and initiatives that align with your values and working to create positive change in your community. Remember that our elected officials work for us, the people. They are accountable to us, and it is our right and our responsibility to make our voices heard. By engaging in the political process, we can help to shape an economy that reflects our values and creates opportunities for all. Section 7. Beyond the ballot box, everyday actions, lasting impact. While presidential elections may capture the headlines, it's important to remember that the choices we make in our everyday lives also have a profound impact on the economy. From the products we buy to the companies we support, to the way we invest our money, our individual actions can contribute to a more just and sustainable economy. Support businesses that align with your values, such as those that pay fair wages, offer good benefits, and operate in an environmentally responsible manner. Invest your money in companies that are working to address social and environmental challenges, such as those in the renewable energy, sustainable agriculture, or affordable housing sectors. Volunteer your time and talents to organizations working to improve your community, such as those addressing poverty, homelessness, or lack of access to education or healthcare. By making conscious choices in our everyday lives, we can create a ripple effect of positive change that extends far beyond our individual actions. Section 8. A call to action. Building a more prosperous future together. The American job market, much like the nation itself, is a work in progress. It is a reflection of our collective choices, our shared values, and our aspirations for the future. While presidential elections may mark turning points in our economic journey, they are but milestones on a longer and more arduous path towards a more just, equitable, and prosperous society. The challenges we face, from income inequality and automation to climate change and globalization, are complex and interconnected. They will require innovative solutions, courageous leadership, and a willingness to challenge the status quo. But above all, they will require a shared commitment to the common good, a recognition that we are all in this together, and that our fates are inextricably intertwined. Let us move forward with a renewed sense of purpose, embracing the challenges before us as opportunities for growth, innovation, and progress. Let us engage in a spirit of collaboration and compromise, seeking common ground amidst our differences, and working together to create an economy that works for everyone, not just the privileged few. The future of the American job market, and indeed the future of our nation, depends